a dark, dark town, in a dark, dark street, there was a dark, dark house, and in the dark, dark house, there were dark, dark stairs. Under the dark, dark stairs was a dark, dark cellar, and in the dark, dark cellar, the skeletons lived.
What was that, man?
So that was the introduction. Have you never heard that before?
No, what was that all about?
Okay, so it's an introduction, right, to... it was a cartoon when we were kids, like in the early 90s, called Funny Bones.
Okay.
And basically it was these skeletons that lived in the cellar of this house, but it was proper spooky. Like they'd play the ribs like as a xylophone or something.
Yeah. Oh my God,
it was really funny.
Classic move.
Yeah. And the reason that we started that is because, hello, welcome to episode 8. I know it's not Halloween, but this today is going to be our spooky special.
Ooh.
We've got a lot to talk about today. And we were kind of going still along the theme, like Egypt versus Britain and the kind of things that we find in our cultures and traditions and that is quite different.
Yeah.
So we thought today that we'd move on to urban myths and legends.
Yes.
And maybe some spooky stories, both from the Middle Eastern world and from the UK as well. Barry, tell me, what's one of your
urban myths?
Urban myths or urban legends, yeah. You can tell me, because you've told me some before. There was one story that you told me, but you said it wasn't from Egypt. It was fairly scary, though.
No, but this
freaked me out.
This is not a myth. This is a true story. So,
I mean, you can't say it's a true story if it's not a true story. It's a myth or a legend.
But it is a true story. So
how do you know? You weren't there.
I wasn't there, but there was a lot of people that confirmed what happened. So I'm gonna leave this story to later in the episode.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you some of the myths that we had growing up.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So
save the spookiest for later.
The spookiest for later.
Don't listen to this podcast in the middle of the night. Yes. Put your head under the covers. Yes. Get scared.
Wow. And definitely, if you have any heart problems, you shouldn't be watching this episode because it's gonna be scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So
hit me.
Okay. So let me just start by telling you, urban legends and myths in Egypt, it all revolved around children. Okay.
That's freaky.
I'll tell you why. So basically, parents were using these myths to make kids, be not be naughty and behave and stuff like that. So So the ones I'm gonna tell you the ones that I grew up hearing about. Okay. So the first one was called Al-Naddaha.
Right.
Okay. Which if I'm going to translate that to English, it's the caller. Okay, or who she calls. Okay.
Right.
So basically, the whole myth comes from the Nile. So at the Nile, at certain point, there was a lady that she kept calling men or children and stuff like that. And when they hear her voice, they get charmed, and then they follow her voice till they go to the Nile, and then they drown there or they disappear. So this is actually sounds like...
Is Alexandria on the Nile?
No. But we had this in Alexandria somehow. So, but basically, it wasn't related to the Nile.
I was gonna say that's a long walk to the Nile.
Exactly. It was just if you heard someone calling. But don't forget, also Alexandria is on the Mediterranean, so we had a big body of.
I think
water,
a lot of traditional urban myths and legends always have someone. Isn't it mermaids? If sailors or seafarers, if they hear the beautiful voices and it's the mermaids that lure them into the dark deep ocean.
Yeah.
I was gonna do. But that wasn't a mermaid, was it? That wasn't Ariel.
That was Ariel.
That was Frozen. What did Ariel sing? Didn't she? Yeah, that's the one. I don't know. I only know the songs from Ursula.
Oh, yeah. I love this movie. Anyway, so the second one actually, and that scared me as a child to death. Okay,
this one.
The next one. Yeah, it's Abu Shwel.
Abu Shwel.
Yeah, and I lived for a very long time believing that this guy exists, and it's really bad because that the whole thing is just about a guy who is one leg, he has a one leg.
Right.
Okay, and he has a bag. So Shwel, you know Santa.
Yeah.
The bag that Santa has
the
for
sack.
the sack, yeah. So this is Shawal in Arabic.
Right.
Okay. So Abu Shawal means the guy who has the sack. Okay. So aren't they all?
Okay, go on. You've reminded me of something here, actually. Keep going. I'm going to say something in a second.
Okay, so basically, like, the whole story revolves around, like, if you're naughty or something like that, this guy will come and, like, will kidnap you at night, and he will just put you in the shawel, and then your family will never see you again. But
That's terrifying.
I know, but the thing is that the reason why I really believed in it, because, like, my mom would tell me these stories about, like, real families that they lost their kids and stuff like that, and it was due to Abu Shawal, but they never did, you know?
Oh, my God. You're bringing back traumatic memories from my childhood, right?
Yeah.
With that story, because that is genuinely, like, that would scare you as a kid, right?
I know, like,
but
it
my
would
mum and
scare me,
dad used to do something similar.
Okay.
Because we were fairly naughty when we'd answer back and we'd give my mum and dad a bit of jip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my mum and dad didn't used to say it was the man with the sack. They used to say it was social services. And the amount of times, right, we'd be arguing or we'd be having a fight or whatever, you know, like arguing stuff. And then my dad had pretended go outside and he'd properly knock on the door.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, and my mum would be like, oh, the social services are here now. And my dad would come to, hello, it's the social services here.
Oh,
We've had a
my
report. And then we'd be upstairs going, the social services are going to take us away. And then I cottoned onto it after a while and I got sick of them knocking on the door. And I remember one day it was like, the social services are here again. And I was packing my suit. I was only about 10-year-old. I was packing my suitcase going, good, I want to go with them. They can take me. I want a nice family.
Wow.
But we used to get terrified about the social services.
Okay.
But what you said there, I'm pretty sure I watched it. It was so funny. There was a video on TikTok in, I think it's Filipino culture, where they do that, but they literally pick the kids up. Like they get the guy.
Yes, I've seen that video
the
in
kids are
TikTok.
like,
No, it's somewhere in Africa. It's not in the Philippines.
Is
I
it
think
not?
it's somewhere in Africa where they actually go and put the kids in the sack. And they were like, no.
But like the kids are terrified,
Yes.
clinging on to everything they can. They're putting them in the back of the van. I mean,
Yeah.
that's child abuse.
I know.
Come on, man.
Like, thank God my mom didn't go to the extent, you know, like she would just tell me stories and she would tell me that he would be under my bed, but that's the maximum that she would do.
Oh, don't say about things under your bed.
I know.
I used to lay in bed when I was a kid, right? And I used to think that there would be something under my bed. And even being in my bed under the covers wasn't good enough to protect me. And that I don't know what happened when I was a kid. I saw Freddy Krueger, like the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
I don't know how I managed to see that movie or whatever. But I used to think that Freddy Krueger would be able to get was it Edward Scissorhands? And he could reach around the bed with both of his hands and then he could dig his claws into me with his scissor hands and then kill me like that. That used to terrify me as a kid.
But Edward Scissorhands is a nice guy. Come on, like he's not a bad guy.
No, I think it was Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
because he's got
it must be
horrible.
Freddy Krueger. Yeah. But like the other character is a nice character.
It's only because you love Johnny Depp.
I mean, no, the character is a really nice guy. Like he did
I've
not
never seen
mean
it. I don't know.
And you just okay, whatever.
Sorry.
But were you one of these kids when you sleep at night? Like you have to have all like everything under the bed because like if you leave like your leg out or something like that, like it might be.
Yeah,
you know.
But I took it to the extreme though.
Okay.
Because I used to be so, and I really don't know where this came from. I used to be so scared as a kid going to bed.
Okay.
I remember that I would get my duvet, tuck it under my feet, tuck it round my legs like a cocoon.
Yes.
But I would have to have the duvet so far up to my eyeballs, and I would be sweating. I would be absolutely roasting hot in bed and I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
But I was so terrified, like laid in my bedroom at night. I mean, I must have only been about, 7?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still
that's
quite
young, yeah.
What do you think? I think that's quite old. When I look at 7, 8-year-olds now, when I think about being scared in bed, I'm like, that's ridiculous. I was 7-year-old.
You know what I used to do when I was 7 years old?
Terrified.
I used to ask my brother to come and sleep next to me in the bed, and he would always be. So my bed was one side is the wall, and the other side is like the other side of the bed.
Right.
So I would always sleep next to the wall, and he's the other side. So if there is any like robbery or like burglar, anything, he would kill him first.
Oh my God.
Sorry, bro. I know you're editing this for me, and you're listening this for the first time, but I used to do
Sacrificial
that.
brother.
I know. I used to do that.
But I wonder what makes us scared as kids, like, because it's so weird. Like you're in the house. You're with your family.
Yeah.
Your parents are in the room next door. You're not like you're in your own house. It's not like you've gone to some spooky hotel for the night. But what makes us as kids terrified of like being in the room by ourselves at night?
I mean, for me, I've seen a lot of things growing up. Like, you know, like
Me
there was
me
No,
too.
no,
but I don't know whether it
not-
was dreaming though.
No, but I'm not talking about like supernatural stuff or anything. No, but I've seen like like thieves and stuff like that. Like I've seen it on like in a building next door, and I've seen the police coming and take them away and stuff like that. So like I've seen that with my own eyes. So like it was not far from home.
Yeah.
So I've always felt like it's gonna happen, and I always used to have this habit like. If I go, so like our living room was on one side and the kitchen like was on the other side of the house. So if I ever go to the kitchen at night and I turn off the light, I'll have always, like to turn off the light and run to the living room, to the living area. So I'm not staying in the dark by myself. And I remember one day I woke up, it was early morning, okay? And I went to, so our computer was like in another room, but like the room had a door. So basically the door had like a key, but the key was in the keyhole, okay? But from the inside. So I woke up in the morning, like it was like 8 a.m. or something like that. My parents are still sleeping. So I go to the room and I tried to open the door, but the door didn't open for some reason, but it wasn't locked or anything. I just couldn't open it. So I look at the keyhole and I see an eye looking back at me. It was just the key, from the other side. And I go running to my mom and, there is someone in the computer room. There is... My dad woke up and he was like, what do you mean there is someone in the computer room? I was like, I saw someone looking back at me from the keyhole. And I was like, okay, so we go together.
But imagine getting that as a parent,
I
like
know.
Genuinely believing that there's someone in your house.
And it's 8 a.m., like... So yeah,
it's funny though because the more that we talk about it, the more memories I have actually flowing back from me.
True.
Like I remember, trying to turn the light off and get into bed before the light went off.
Yes.
Like it was impossible. We tried it though, didn't we? It was like if I switched the light off and you would take your duvet and you would open your duvet in a very specific way so that you knew when I turn off the light, I'm going to jump into bed, left hand over, right hand under, straight up. Like we had that's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We did have a. When you're talking about like scaring people to death, me and my sister Sophie, we used to go and stay at my Auntie Jean and Uncle George's over Christmas time, right?
Okay.
And at the time we were Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. So, obviously we didn't celebrate Christmas or birthdays or nothing like that. And I just went to scratch my ear because I've got an itchy ear and I've got headphones on. Doyle.
That's another level.
Anyway, as I scratch my ear with the headphones on. So I remember that my Auntie Jean used to buy us presents for Christmas, right? Even though my mum and dad were like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But we used to go to my Auntie Jean's, buy us presents, and then I remember one Christmas we got up early, and obviously my Auntie Jean and Uncle George were still in bed. I mean, they were probably in the 60s at the time, late 60s, early 70s, and so they were in bed. They used to have a lie in. Mm-hmm. And I think this is about 7 o'clock in the morning, and me and Sophie were like, let's go downstairs and open our presents. But we didn't realise they had a burglar alarm. Okay. So one of my earliest memories of being at my Auntie Jane and Uncle George's house is going down on Christmas Day, setting off the burglar alarm. My Uncle George coming pelting down the stairs. We've got a burglar! Because their house had been burgled about 5 times.
Oh my God.
Because they're like in the rough part of Middlesbrough.
Okay.
And they had like these massive shutters on the back windows and everything. Like it was like Fort Knox, honestly.
Oh my God.
But he was just, get back to bed. We're like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to set off the alarm. And my Uncle George is in a fuss.
And say that what happens when you try to open the gifts way earlier before
right? I know, but we were just too excited.
Yeah, of course.
Like I got a train set,
that,
and Sophie got this little decapitated Barbie head that you could like do the hair of. I played with that more than I did the train set.
Okay.
But there was a time though, going back to spooky stories though. Like there was this house that we lived in. I think it was in Loftus, Liverton Mines.
Okay.
It's like you won't know where it is, but it's like it's near this mining community. They were like mining something, I don't know. But it was like an odd little town next to a town, really small, and you had to go up a big bank to get to it.
Okay.
And that house, I just remember, gave me like weird vibes as a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember one night I'd woke up in the middle of the night and there was like a man with a sword holding a sword over my bed.
Okay.
And I was obviously terrified. And my mum and dad were like, what do you mean there's a man with a sword in your room? And I'm like, he was there. He was stood at the end of the bed. But they think that,
No, it's always your imagination is playing.
Well, I don't know. Who knows who that man with the sword could have been?
I mean, like, I have a lot of stories. If we're going to go on and on, like, I have a lot of stories. But, yeah. I think, like...
Kids in the night, though.
Part of it...
We're terrified.
Yeah, but part of it, I think, like, we were kids and our, like, brain played a lot, like a big part of that, but
Maybe.
some other stories, like I'm 100% sure of what I saw and what happened. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna share that. That is for another story. So, anyways,
That's for later.
that's for later. So the last one actually we have is El Silawa.
Okay.
Okay, and this was just like I've actually, me personally, I've never had any fear from the Salawa. It was just like a half man, half. It's like a werewolf, like an Egyptian werewolf.
Oh, I don't believe in stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, but like they said that it would roam the streets at night and stuff like that, and it would also like kidnap kids if you're not sleeping early and stuff like that. Like, but me growing up personally, I've never had any fears from the Salawa till. In 2009 or 2010 or something like that, it was Facebook still, like something new and stuff like that, and they had a picture of El Salawa.
How old were you at this point?
I mean 2010. I was
15 years ago.
Yeah,
So you were 15.
I was 15. I mean, yeah,
16.
16, yeah. So I mean, like I saw the picture for the first time. I'm sure that it was like photoshopped or something. Like it was not like a real picture, but
Well, obviously it's not because it doesn't exist.
I
How
mean,
can it be a real picture of a man werewolf
I know.
thing?
No. It was like it was a weird creature. It was not a man, and it was not a werewolf. It was just a weird creature, like a really weird looking creature. And like if my brother can find the picture and just put it there, like you can see what I was talking about. It's just it was horrendous. So yeah. So these are the.
So you were scared of a picture when you were 16?
I mean, like it didn't scare me, as in like I was, oh my god, like it's gonna hunt me. But I was spooked by it. It was like, wow, like that looks ugly, But you know me.
Were you looking at my profile pictures again?
I was. I was like, oh, who's this werewolf?
Swine.
No, but you know me now. Like I love horror movies, and I'm into these things, And by the way, I do have my own channel of true crime stories. Like I do love doing these things. So
True Crime Barry on TikTok.
On TikTok, yeah.
There's a total.
But it is in Arabic though. I have to tell everyone that it is in Arabic. I'm doing this because like I do want to do something for my own community for like in Arabic and stuff like that. So
Good for you.
Thank you. So what about you? Tell me. I'm really interested to know about your myths.
Okay. Well, thank you again for turning the iPad to my.
Oh my god! Like I always.
It's really nice. Thanks very much.
I'll try to remember next time to do it. Oh, we need to buy another iPad.
Yeah, you do. So urban legends. I mean, we've got loads of urban legends in Britain.
Okay.
Right?
Give me the best three.
But I'm not going to give you the best three because I've only wrote down one.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that I only wrote down one was because this was a memory for me. There was this guy. I don't know if anyone listening to this knows, right? But there was a TV presenter in the 90s, 2000s called Michael Aspel, and he used to present this show called Strange But True. Okay. And it used to have this
sounds interesting,
super spooky intro to it. Like even the intro used to make me crap myself. Okay, it was scary. I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
However, when I was looking through for like urban legends today, this story, I remember it so vividly, was on the program, right? And it's called The Phantom Hitchhiker of Bluebell Hill.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's many stories like this, like all over the world, but basically it's about this ghostly woman that when you drive down this road in Kent, she's been hitchhiking or she's been walking along waving people down. People stop the cars. Yeah? People stop the cars. They have a conversation with her. She gets in the car. She sits in the back or whatever. And then she just disappears. And even sometimes they've ran her over. So like they've been driving down the road. They've knocked her over. They've got out the car. There's nobody there. It's nothing.
Oh, wow.
And there was another story as well about about a stretch of road that takes you back in time. So you're driving down the road, and then as you get down the road, like you'll go in the past like 40 years, and then you'll drive through this town that's like from 40 years ago, and then you end up back in the present day again. Anyway, it was scary to me. But basically, that's an urban legend that there was in Kent on Bluebell Hill, this woman. But there's also lots of other urban legends, like the Loch Ness Monster, but there's no proof of the Loch Ness Monster.
What is the Loch Ness Monster?
Have you never heard of the Loch Ness Monster?
Is the one in the lake?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Do you believe it?
I mean, no, I don't believe any of these. Like even the Bigfoot, like they had a whole thing about like a whole documentary about how it was staged and everything. So I don't believe in these things, to be honest. Like, yeah. But what I wanted to really like know is about like stories you growing up, your parents would tell you like to scare you, because like these would be the myths.
Social services.
Social services. Like, this is not myth.
It was a myth that they were at the door.
Yeah.
We didn't really have, because we grew up in like a religious family, really. We were Jehovah's Witnesses and then Mormons, and that type of thing wasn't really.
Yeah, but like
we were threatened with religion. We were threatened with God. If you don't behave
Okay.
yourself, you'll never go to heaven.
I mean, like,
it says in the Bible, respect your parents.
all of us, I grew up like with that as well. Like me as a Muslim, of course, it was the same thing. Like if you do certain things, like it's not like God will hate you or anything, but like you shouldn't be doing this, like, you know, because it's a wrong thing and stuff like that, and religiously, of course. But what I meant is, like, even around you or something like that, you don't have any stories like Abu Shuwal or like.
I don't think so. Not really.
Not really.
No, which is quite
Okay.
weird.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're going to move on from like the urban legend type stuff, and we're going to
Okay.
think about like
Yeah.
from our countries, like maybe over the past 100 years or so,
Yeah.
if there's any strange habits or strange beliefs like that people had.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start because you've heard of the Victorians, right? So like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Queen
yeah.
Victoria was
Yeah,
ruling
yeah, of
Britain, you know,
course.
and
Yeah.
the Victorians were like a really odd part of history.
Yeah.
Because they had like really weird beliefs and really weird kind of things. So, for
Okay.
example, and they were very superstitious people as well. So the Victorians used to cover all of the mirrors in the house after someone died. And I remember my nana used to do this because she was kind of Victorian. She was born in like the 1906, 1907. So I think she was Victorian still. I
Okay.
don't know when Queen Victoria died. My mum used to say she was Victorian. Well, she had the Victorian mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in Victorian England, they used to cover all the mirrors in a house after someone died
Okay.
because they believed that if the deceased soul saw its own reflection, that it could get trapped in the mirror.
Interesting.
I mean, where did they get that from? Why would he be looking in the mirror?
I don't know.
Anyway, I think that's a weird one.
Is that where they got? I'm sorry to cut you here, but is that where they got the Bloody Mary, like urban story? Because that's an urban legend. You have the
Which
Bloody
one?
Mary. What? You don't tell me that you don't know Bloody Mary.
I've heard of it. Well, she was a queen, wasn't she?
No, Bloody Mary. You go to the toilet and then you have like you turn off the lights and then you have a candle and you look in the mirror in the toilet and you go and say Bloody
we
Mary
used to have
like.
stuff like that, but it wasn't Bloody Mary though.
Was
Can't we
Bloody
used to say
Mary?
something else?
It was Bloody Mary. I'm sure
You
it
sure?
was. Yes, I'm 100% sure it was.
Is
Bloody
sure it wasn't
Mary.
Beetlejuice?
No, not Beetlejuice. No, it was Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I think you say it 10 times or something
Yeah.
like that, and then like, so
Yeah, no, I have heard of that. But
Yeah.
actually, mirrors used to be really scary as well when we were kids.
yeah,
My mum used to tell me that when she was younger, she used to
Okay.
turn off all the lights and just have like one light on, like in the background or whatever, or she'd turn the lights and she'd go right close up to the mirror and she'd look herself dead in the eyes in the mirror. And then she'd start pulling like really
oh my god,
like horrible faces and she'd scare herself to death and then have to go to bed and she'd be like, ugh. So I did it as a kid once. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
But on TikTok recently, I watched a video about this is so weird, by the way.
okay,
If you look at somebody for long enough, either in the mirror or if it's like two pictures of them side by side, as it starts to go, all of the faces start to go like, you know, like that movie Smiler,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
the smile like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was really scary. And people's faces deform, and it's like a kind of like mind trick
Yeah.
that your eyes do. So, yeah, it scares me, though. I don't
Okay.
like it.
Yeah.
Even mirrors anyway, just like people behind you. Just we have a thing about mirrors, don't we? Like as
I
humans.
mean, I don't. I love
No?
mirrors. You know me.
Oh,
Wake
it's
up in the
because you're
morning.
vain as, that's why.
Woke up in the morning and the
But-
first thing I do is just to look in the mirror.
But like maybe we think that we can see something that's like otherworldly
John,
behind
I'm
us.
sorry, like,
I feel scared. Don't talk about it. Right, the next one.
I'm a scientist. I've studied physics. I'm not scared of mirrors. I'm sorry.
Whatever. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm going to scare the hell out of you in the mirror at some point recently. So
Okay.
the next one, this is actually really interesting.
Okay.
One of the strange beliefs that we used to have, and maybe it's not strange, Barry, you can tell me about this,
Okay.
was that we believed that ancient Egyptian mummies were cursed. And in the 19th and 20th centuries, there was a widespread belief that Egyptian mummies carried curses.
Yeah.
And the most famous example was the curse of Tutankhamun, who is said to have killed several members of the 1922 expedition that discovered his
I was
tomb.
literally just going to talk to you about this
Yeah.
incident because I just read about this incident recently. So basically, it's all a myth. Nothing is true about that.
Are you sure? Because there was, I remember reading like 3 or 4 of them died within like weeks of opening it or something.
Yes, and it was like weird incidents and stuff like that. But trust me, it has nothing to do with the myth. Like when you really read into the story, because like I really wanted to go into the depth of the story and stuff like that. When you really read into the story, like one of them was on debt, so that's why he took his own life, and the other one was like addicted to drugs and stuff like that. Like when you really read into the story, and then the main guy, I can't remember his name now, but the main guy who discovered the tomb, like. Like the big boss. Yeah, nothing happened to him. He died in a natural death, like in an old age. So nothing really happened. Like, come on, like,
were ancient Egyptians superstitious people, or like? I know that like they had the beliefs and stuff. Yeah, but they would like wrap the body because they'd need it in the afterlife, right? Is that something kind of what they were?
So I'll tell you something that this is from our it's from the history and from Islam as well. Okay, so basically like
how can it be from Islam? Egyptians didn't have.
Yeah, but like
wasn't Islamic then.
No. But in Quran it tells a lot of stories, and one of the stories about Moses, and Moses was in Egypt. During the Pharaoh's time.
Oh, yeah.
He was sent to a Pharaoh.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, one of Moses' actually miracles that he went to the Pharaoh and he told him, like, I'm a soldier of God and I was sent by God and stuff like that. And then he didn't believe him. And he asked, like, his biggest sorcerers and stuff like that to come to, like, a big place and show their magic. Okay, so like magic was something at the time. So all of them came, including Moses, and they started throwing ropes and stuff like that, and the ropes in front of everyone started like transforming into actual like snakes, and people would see snakes, real snakes. Okay, and then Moses threw his what do you call it, like
staff.
What is staff?
Like his stick.
Yeah, like his stick.
Yeah,
and then it turns to an actual, like a real living snake, and then it starts eating all these ones.
You realize that's why hospitals, when you have like a logo of a hospital and you see the staff with the snake wrapped around it, that's where that comes from.
Oh, really? Yeah. From that story?
Yeah.
So like that was a big proof in Islam that there was dark magic at the time, and also in Islam it says that there were a lot of people, like even like way more recent than the pharaohs, that they were using dark magic and they were able to talk to jinn and other like spiritual creatures.
So you believe in magic then?
I do. Like it's as part of my religion, I have to believe in magic, and I have to believe in other spiritual like entities and stuff like that, and that people can actually get in touch with them as well.
I mean, I guess Christians believe that too, because it's like it's demons, right? But to believe in magic is quite interesting, because living in the UAE, like there's always like a grey area, especially in schools, like whether like Harry Potter's allowed, or because I genuinely thought it was hilarious when I saw something in the news and it was like, it's magic is being illegal. Someone was arrested for practicing magic, and I was like, practicing magic? But really, like there are African tribes or people in certain African countries that do black magic, and it is. I don't know whether to believe it or not. Like,
let me just explain to you. We're not talking about Harry Potter magic. We're not talking about something with a wound, like, and it's gonna like a lumos and then it will light up. No, we're talking about
that doesn't exist.
No, babes.
Oh.
I'm sorry to tell you, but it doesn't exist.
Well, in Mall of the Emirates, there's a Harry Potter store, and you can buy a wand with a light on it, so I'm just saying.
It's closing soon, by the way. Anyways, yeah, it is.
I know, I'm surprised they made money, to be honest.
Yeah. So basically, the dark magic that we're talking about is something called the amal. Okay.
So,
amal. Yeah. So amal. So yeah. So basically, it's just like it's a way that people can take stuff from you, like can take like a cloth of your clothes or like your hair or something like that, or like your nails, and then they would go to someone that would write weird things. And
voodoo. This is voodoo, right?
Yeah, like kind of voodoo, but like it's
voodoo. You
do. It's even. It's even.
Remember?
Oh my god! He's cutting me again.
I know. I'm sorry, but it's reminding me. Did you ever watch the movie Labyrinth?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Labyrinth. No, not Labyrinth. Ben's Labyrinth.
No, not Pan's Labyrinth. No, this is just called Labyrinth, and it's like, oh my god, it's so good. No. And they have this song, and it's voodoo, hoodoo, you do, voodoo.
Is that what you really got my story for?
Yeah,
wow.
It was so funny though.
Okay. So I'm going
to show you that movie because Labyrinth is really good.
Okay.
It's one of the best 80s movies ever.
So back to the magic. So that's basically what we believe in. So it's that kind of magic. And to be very honest with you, there is like a movies that are out there. It's Turkish movies. Like if you watch it, it's all based on true
You've
stories.
tried to make me watch these Turkish
I
movies and
know.
they're horrible.
I know. It's called Sijin, and it's all based on true stories that happened to people that they had these things done to them. So it's like it's really like it can really take you to a black hole. So yeah.
I don't.
That's
like,
what we
I
do
don't like
believe.
watching them. They're very real. Like Hollywood movies. Like
Yeah.
Hollywood movies have still got that glitz and glamour of
Yeah.
like being made in Hollywood. But them Turkish
Oh
horror
my God,
movies.
no. It's like it's a pure horror. It's like pure.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You watched one night, I'm sure, when I was in bed, and all I heard was like. It was horrible. No,
I've
no.
watched all. I think there is like 5 or 6
Yeah.
of them, and I watched them all. I
No,
loved
they were
them.
horrible.
Yeah.
So, Cursed
Okay.
Egyptian Mummies is off the cards.
It's other cards. Yeah, it's
Okay,
other
right.
cards, yeah.
Okay, well, the last thing, and this is what Barry talks about all the time, but actually,
Yeah.
you've misinterpreted it. Which is bathing was seen as dangerous. Okay, so we weren't scared of water and thought that water
They
was
were
evil.
scared of water, and they
No.
thought that water is evil.
No,
ChatGPT it.
I did, and this is what it came up with.
Okay.
So for a long time in the 18th and 19th century, frequent bathing was considered unhealthy, as people believed it could weaken the body and allow diseases to enter through the skin. Bearing in mind that we didn't have water treatment plants back then. Yeah, you're literally talking like dirty river water. So instead of washing with water, many relied on dry cleaning methods such as powders and perfumes. Oh my God, they must have stunk. I'm literally gagging. This belief faded in the Victorian era as hygiene became more emphasised.
When you finally let Muslims come to your country and teach you.
I wouldn't have
about
said that. It's a very that's a tender topic in England at the minute with immigration. I would have probably
Oh, I know. Yes.
yeah, I'll probably cut that bit, to be honest. Right, so weird things that you used to believe. Right, I've very kindly
Yes.
changed it to your
Thank
age.
you. Thank
So
you.
yeah, so it wasn't that we were scared of
Thank you.
water.
Yeah.
It was just the thought, the illnesses within the water could seep through your skin and.
But
Which, I mean, in an age where there was no medical kind of.
But do you know what's the real horror story? Horror story that's still happening in the UK till today?
What?
You guys don't have shut off. This is a true horror story.
Yeah, that really is.
Like just the thought of it is just like.
For those of you that don't know what Shataf is back home, and can I just say, there are so many British people that I speak to over here that still don't use it.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, how?
I don't know.
So basically, Shataf is like, it's a bum gun.
Yeah.
And once you've done having a poo, you take the little Shataf, you take the bum gun, it's got a little clicker on it, and you just clean your bum, right? With water.
Yes.
And
as you should.
I always thought that when I first came here, I was like, oh, it's to wash your feet before you pray.
Oh my God.
So I thought that's what that must be. So, you wash your feet off the toilet with the Shataf before you pray. Clean yourself, and then that clearly wasn't it. And it wasn't for a few weeks that I realised what it was actually for. And it was life-changing.
It was.
But it's actually,
I remember me convincing you of trying it. Like, I remember, like, I asked you when I first met you, I was like, have you used this thing next to your toilet? And you were like, no, I don't want to wash my feet. And I was like, it's not for your feet. It's for something else. So and I started teaching him as a child how to use the Shataf. So, like, I mean, like, not in the toilet, not inside the toilet. I was like, we were outside talking about it, sat on a sofa. Oh, yeah, like, oh my God.
Just lean forward, John. If I just.
This is exactly how you do it. No.
So, yeah, I didn't learn how to clean my backside until I was 32, 33. So, yeah, great stuff. No, but honestly, life changer. And if you live in Dubai and you don't use it, you should. Yeah. Because, and I like the analogy of, like, if you got poo on your skin here, what would you clean it with? Would you clean it with a tissue?
With a tissue?
Or would you clean it with water?
And
it's
soap
like,
even.
Even soap, yeah. So, like, what makes your bum any different?
Exactly. It's the same skin.
But when I go, but actually, it's not the same skin. Because your bum skin is really sensitive. Did you know? Your bum skin is like your lips.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I can't believe we're talking about this on the podcast. So your bum skin's like your lips, so it's very sensitive.
Yeah.
So in order to, when you're wiping it with toilet paper, it's very rough on your bottom.
You cut it as well.
Yeah. And I used to get very sore bum. When I go home now, I can't use toilet paper. I either have to use wet wipes, and then I take like a
fresh buzz.
What's it called? A fresh buzz. It's called. It's like a little bottle with a pipe on it, and then you just squeeze the pipe near your bum, and it's like a little shower for your bum.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's life changing. Yeah. But I looked at getting it back in the UK, and you're not allowed. Apparently, it's illegal.
No, but I mean, like you can actually do it. Like you can just get.
You can, but technically it's illegal. You're not allowed to install
so
them.
weird. Like it's illegal for you to be clean. Wow. See,
Well,
that's what I'm
they
talking.
do-
That's what I'm talking about.
No,
You're scared of water.
No, what they
you
do...
are scared of cleanliness.
No, what they say is that there's no backstop on the water pipe. So after you've cleaned your bum, there could be poo particles on the end of the shitaf that go back into the water and slide back down the pipe and go into the water thing. That's
Did you
what
see
they
the
say.
pressure on this thing?
I know, right? Oh my God, where was I recently? Oh, it was in the Irish Village. We went to the Irish Village last weekend in Studio City, right? They have quite possibly one of the most powerful shatafs I've ever tried in my life. I could taste the bleach.
Oh my God.
Like, that was strong. Like, you don't need to go for a colonoscopy. What do they call it? Of an enema or whatever they call
I
it.
don't know.
Go to Studio City and go and try their shataf. I tell you, you clean your teeth at the
you're-
same time. Unbelievable.
If you are looking for a strong, powerful shataf, you know where to go now.
Gee whiz. And it takes you by surprise because you don't know. Like sometimes like the pushy thing, like
Yeah.
so if it's soft to press,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you
yeah.
know the one. But sometimes like you have to really push it and you know that it's going to be
It's
a
gonna
good
be a
one.
I love the kind of information that we share with our people, our podcast. Like,
I know, but if we didn't share this kind of stuff, our podcast would be truly boring.
Exactly. I hope that we spooked you enough. Dude, people are spooked of us now.
I know, right? Let's get back to the episode.
So yeah, let's get back to the episode before that goes too far into the bum and whatever. So yeah, okay. So things like weird things that Egyptian used to do before, like, but we don't have weird things.
Well, I
But
don't know,
like,
you haven't said it yet.
yeah, but like,
Let me be the judge of that.
okay, so like we used to, for example, we used to wear something called tarbush, okay, which is a red hat kind of.
Are you picking the best ones, are you, Barry?
I'm not like. I mean, like some of the stuff here, I don't
weird
even
beliefs, weird Egyptian beliefs.
know. Okay, so like I'm gonna read these things. I've never seen it myself. I've never known anyone that done it before. But like that's what came up with my research.
Go on then.
So like it says here, burying umbilical cords near schools. And
What?
Yeah. So it says here that it was common for mothers to bury their newborns' umbilical cords near a school to ensure the child would grow up smart and successful.
That's weird.
That is weird, but I mean, like, I've never seen that, to be honest. Like, I've never seen that at all.
Well, I guess it's better than eating it. Because a lot of Western people eat the placenta.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they say that it has a lot of
Iron or
or whatever. So yeah. Something else like, but this is something that
Is that
I
not
know.
cannibalism?
No, it's not.
Why is it not? It was inside your body. You're
Yeah.
eating stuff that's inside your body that
So-
you've grown and made yourself.
I mean,
into part
I
of your
don't know.
body,
I don't
right?
know if it's healthy or not. To be honest, like,
No,
I'm
I've heard
not-
it is. I've heard
Yeah.
it is. But I mean, that's pretty gross, though, right? I'm
It
not
is.
like judging anyone that's done
Yeah.
it.
Aren't you?
That's pretty vile. I'm sure it's cannibalism.
No, it's not. Anyways, I mean, at least not on the
It's not if
societal.
you eat yourself.
It's not on the societal norm that it is. So whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, so one thing that I know that we do is actually the blue eye. You know the blue eye.
Is that
Have
what you
heard-
say, mashallah, before you?
No. So we
That's
have
the
the
green
blue
eye.
eye. No. The green eye is the evil eye.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you say mashallah before
Yeah, you say
do
mashallah.
anything.
Yeah, you say mashallah before everything or before anything, just
the
to,
same
to
eye.
prevent. No, but blue eye is for envy.
So what's the green eye?
The green eye is just a term for bad eye. So if I'm gonna give you a bad eye,
Yeah.
like that we call that a green eye. But the blue eye was an actual thing, like an actual stone.
How many
it was
eyes
called
have you got?
Too many. So yeah, so the blue eye it's called the Horus eye, which was supposed to be one of the
from one of the
ancient,
gods.
one of the gods.
Horus.
And it was like it is actually like a little stone, and it's blue, like
Yeah.
3 or 4 shades of blue and white. Okay, and the people believe that this is actually for envy. Like if you wear this, like it will protect you from envy and stuff like that. So no one can envy you and stuff like that. But people still doing it till today.
Oh,
It's actually a form of art. So another weird thing is that if we do this. Okay, like if I do this like a 5, this is 5 in your eyes, okay? That means that also, like, if you're envying me about something or like you're giving me a bad eye, I'll be like, خمسة في عينيك خمسة في عينيك
خمسة فانيك.
خمسة في عينيك.
What does that mean?
So that is also like, it's just, I don't know what it means. I don't know where it came from, but this is actually something, a practice that we still do till today, just to prevent a bad eye. So Egypt combined both of them together. So now we have a hand that has like 2 weird fingers. Okay, they are like 3 here and like 2 like this. And then we have the eye, the blue eye in the middle. Huda, please just put like a picture here so people understand what I'm talking about. So people understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, so this is like a simple, like when you do this, it's like to protect you from bad. And when we go to Egypt, you will see it everywhere. I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you. It's on the buildings. It's like when you go to houses and stuff like that. My family doesn't believe in this because like it's not coming from like a like a religious background, but a lot of people do. So yeah. So these are 3 things, but like the 5 thingy is so weird because we still do it till today. Like if you would say, oh, I love your shoes, I'm like khamsa فعنيك khamsa. Yes, they are good khamsa.
That's weird because normally when I say to an Arab, I love your shoes, they go, take them, Habibi, have them.
Exactly, but you know what? That is so weird because like we only do this with Arabs. But we don't do it with foreigners. Like, we don't think, because when you say it, we don't think that you're saying it from envy. You're just saying it because you don't know how to say mashallah. Yeah. But if an Arab said, oh my God, I love your shoes without saying mashallah before, I'm like, what do you mean like my shoes? Horus eye.
That's so weird. That's so funny.
And it is integrated also in the women. Oh, sorry. It is integrated in the women jewelry till today, by the way. That's so a lot of women jewelry, they would still like, it is gold, but it will have the Horus eye. So yeah, so these are the... Let me do it.
No, it's fine. In fact, I actually think that we're at the end of this kind of part.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, like it's...
but I do think that we should talk about real ghost stories now. Because we were sat talking about this the other day, right?
Yeah.
And... we were sat in Studio City with some friends and we started talking about ghost stories, which I think has kind of inspired this podcast this week.
Yeah.
And we realised that we've had quite a few different experiences. Yeah. And I always don't know like whether or not you can say that they were real for sure. Yeah. But what you see, like it's not when I was a kid, because children's minds do go a bit,
Yeah.
But as an adult, like I've experienced some things that I can't explain. And that I just, like, I struggle with religion and, like, trying to believe something. And it kind of plays into that maybe there is something, whether it's, like, beings that live on the same, like, kind of space as us, but in a different plane, or whether or not there really is people when we die and they go to the next bit and they can communicate with us, or whether we're really just talking to angels or demons or jinn or whatever you want to say. But there has to be something after we die, right? Yeah. Or if there's not, then there's beings with us that we can't see. So when I was younger, I did have like a few experiences. So the first one was like, I must have only been about 7 and we were moving house and my mum and dad and me were in bed asleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I pointed to the corner of the room because there was like loads of black bags that had clothes in and everything. Okay. And I woke up and I was like, oh, there's a man in the room looking through the bags. Okay. So I woke my dad up and I was like, Dad, there's somebody in the room and he's looking through the bags. And my dad was like sleepy. But he was like, what? Okay. And there's a man in the bags there. He's looking in the bags. Yeah. And so my dad woke my mum up and I was like, Mum, there's a man looking through the bags. And she was like, point to him. And I'm like, he's in that bag now. And then he's in, and I can remember exactly what I was seeing. And then my mum was like, oh, okay, where is he now? And I was like, he's in that bag. He's looking in that bag. And then he walked out the door. And my mum was like, okay, go back to sleep.
How old were you?
I think I was about 6 or 7. But I do remember that. That was a memory. And my mum and dad will verify that as well.
Can I tell you something? What? People always say that children can see stuff that no one else can see.
Yeah, it's so true.
Like it is.
I think it is.
It is, yeah.
And so for me, that was my first experience of like paranormally type stuff. Okay. But growing up, me, and even my friends like that I hung around with at school, I remember I had a friend called Grace, and we used to always hang around together at school. And we would like try and see each other's auras and we would like meditate and stuff. So I always had like something inside of me that was like questioning, like if there was stuff that paranormal stuff was real. Or... Yeah. But my dad probably gave me the most terrifying experiences because he was like always searching for religion, like searching for the truth. Okay. That's why we were like Jehovah's Witnesses for 7 years. Then we went to Mormons. And then my dad kind of discovered spiritualism when I was about 17. Yeah. And I remember very vividly, and I remember watching it over and over again because my dad actually had this on camera. And it was a VHS camera. And we're talking like 2000 here, 2000, 2001. There was no way that my dad could edit videos back then. We didn't even have a computer, didn't have a laptop, didn't have digital software. It was just camera on film, you know? And my dad used to set up like lights and a white background, and he used to like meditate and like ask for like spirits to come in and, you know, show themselves or speak to him. And I remember this one video that he made. My sister was sat in the middle of the room and they were doing whatever they were doing, and he recorded. It was like you and me sat here now. It scares me to think about it. And there was like a man's face, and he was all in white with like, but he disappeared after the shoulders, like here. And he swooped in from behind my sister over the shoulder, swooped right in front of the camera with his face like that. Wow. And you could see his whole face and like his shoulders and everything. So, I mean, it was in a living room. There was nothing that could have created that, you know. I know people say orbs, like little bits of light, but you know, when you've got the camera on and you've got the little dust particles in the room, some people believe in orbs. I think maybe it's just light hitting the large dust particles that, you know, the camera lens picks up or whatever. But it was not. It couldn't have been anything else, you know. I genuinely believe that he caught something on camera that night.
Wow.
And the same thing maybe like a couple of weeks or months later, where him and my mum were filming in a graveyard at like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And my mum was behind the camera and my dad was walking about the gravestones. And as he's walking around, my mum says, "Oh, there's somebody coming in walking the dog. We're going to have to go."
Yeah.
She turns the camera off and they leave. And then when you watch the camera back, there's a woman in like a red jacket or a red coat or gown, whatever you want to say, and she's praying next to a headstone. And when my mum says there's somebody coming in, she stops praying. She looks over to where my mum's pointing on the camera, and then she goes back to praying again.
Okay.
And how do you explain that? My dad was like, there was nobody there.
Yeah.
My dad has no reason to lie, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
And because I always used to say to him, like, because I was like 16, I was like, you need to send that into like Ghosts Captured on TV on Bravo channel or whatever. But he used to say that the reason why he didn't is because he didn't want to share it, so he thought that he would get more, you know, of holding onto those things without the concept of you know, like making it known kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he always said that he got better things on film because of the fact that he said he wasn't going to share it. It was just for him.
Yeah.
But obviously I saw it. And then for some reason, my dad deleted. He got rid of all the tapes. I have no idea why he did that. Maybe his belief changed on what exactly he was capturing, and it scared him, I think. Because he was like, I don't know what I've got on tape here, and I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
And he went more down like a religious route, a God route, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, those things that I saw, it has to be something.
Yeah,
you know?
of course. Yeah,
and but it's like, what? What is it? What was in the graveyard with my dad when he was walking around it?
Yeah.
What was that spirit-looking thing that was hovering over my sister and flew into the camera? Like, what were those things?
Yeah.
I can't explain it.
It is weird and
You
spooky,
know?
to be honest, yeah. But the story that I have for you is way more spookier than that, John.
Go on, tell me.
So, like, I do have a story like that happened to me personally, and then I have another story that it's known in the Arab world. Okay.
So, guys, get tucked in.
Yes. Okay, so the first story, I'm gonna say the one that happened in the Arab world. I think it happened in Kuwait, if I'm not mistaken, or Qatar, something like that. But this is really one of the most horrific stories that I personally have ever heard about.
Yeah, exactly. I think another story that you're gonna tell us. Go on.
So basically, it all starts with this lady. She is in a band. Okay, so they are just singers and stuff like that, and all they do is just they go to weddings and they just like play with the drums and stuff like that. And they sing, and you know, like they are pretty famous and stuff like that. Okay, so one day they get a call and they're like, "Okay, we have a wedding, so can you please come to this place at this time?" They were like, "Yeah, sure." So they were supposed to be there early. Okay, they were supposed to be there like maybe at 2-3 in the morning. So they did go late a little bit. They went at like 6 p.m. or something. They went there. It was a big villa, okay, like lights everywhere, like, and they went inside and they were like, "Oh, you're a bit late, so can you just go up, because like you had a room, but like the room now is occupied, so can you go up, like take this room upstairs and like, change and stuff like that." And that's what they did. They go up, they like they put the makeup, they changed to their like performing clothes and stuff like that. They go down, they perform, like they have pictures, and these pictures are out on the internet. You can find these pictures.
Seen them.
Yeah. So they have pictures with the pride, they have pictures with the family dancing and everything, blah blah blah. And they were like, and then all of a sudden they start feeling something weird. Okay, like one of them got really, really sick. Okay, and then she decided to go back to the room where they were like changed and everything. So they went back to check on her, and they were like, "What is wrong with you?" And she was like, "I really feel awful. I don't feel like I really want to be here." And they were like, "Okay, listen, like we do have only 2 songs left. It's like it was 2 a.m. already." So they were like, "Okay, just sit there, stay there, and we will just finish these 2 songs and we'll come back to you." And she started getting really, really sick. So they go downstairs, and they also start to have this spooky feeling, like there is something wrong about these people. Like they are very loud, they are laughing all the time. I know it's a wedding and everything, but it's just, it's extreme. Their behavior is extreme. So guess what? They go down, they perform the first song, the second song, and then it hits 3 a.m. And then all of a sudden, all the lights goes off, everyone disappears. And they're in the middle of the villa by themselves. Everything disappears. The lights, the wedding, everyone there, everyone just disappeared. So they are in the middle of a villa by themselves. They look back at the villa, and it's literally like it's like a ghost house or something. It's like it has been abandoned for years. It's not the same villa that they went to at like 6 p.m. So they went up, they ran, they grabbed their friend. She was fainted at the time because like the light went off all of a sudden. And then they started going out, and they were screaming in the middle of the street. There was a guy who was going to pray, like going for like the Fajr prayer, and he saw them like they were in the middle of the street running from this villa, and they was like screaming. So the guy stopped him, and he was like, "What's wrong? Like, what happened?" And he was like, "We were just in a wedding in this villa, like, and we were just dancing, and there were music and everything." And he was like, "This villa was never occupied for nearly like more than 30 years or something. There was no one ever there in this villa."
Oh my God.
And there was always stories about it. You know what happened to this lady after? She never, ever, ever performed again. Ever. That was her last performance.
But wasn't the pictures, though, of them having goat's feet or something?
It actually, you can see that they have goat feet or anything, but like it really, really looks scary. Like when you look at the pictures and stuff, it's scary. Like you can tell from the picture that is something. These people are not natural,
Yeah.
And you can actually look it up. So you will find the pictures. It's online. So this is a story that lives with me.
Maybe we can find the pictures and put them in the tree.
And put them in the tree.
Let's see if we can find the pictures and put them in the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I've heard stories like that before, but I don't like that at all. It's really, and it's,
Yeah. So the second story is actually something that happened with me personally, me and my brother. So in our beach house, we had like, it was 1 floor, 2 apartments in the floor, but they are separated from each other.
Yeah.
So one night, me, my mom, my dad were in one apartment, and my younger brother was in the other apartment by himself, taking a shower. Light goes off. My mom tells me, "Listen, go check on your brother." So I go check on my brother. We have 3 bedrooms. Okay. So I'm like, like I go and call his name like more than one time. "Hey, are you here?" Blah, blah, blah. Like I'm shouting, like, and he doesn't hear me. So I go to the toilet, I check on him. There is nothing. Go to the other bedroom. There is nothing. Go to the second bedroom, nothing. And then while I was going to the third bedroom, the door closes. We have to understand that the door is this way, opens this way, and the window was there. So like there is no way that the wind can close the door this way.
Yeah.
I thought it's him. He heard me coming, and he's still like naked or something. So that's why he closed the door to change and stuff like that. So I waited there for like 5 minutes, and then I started, like knocking on the door and like asking him like, "Come on, come out." And then I tried to open the door, but the door didn't open. So I thought that he was on the other side, like, holding the door or something.
Yeah.
Like all of us did that.
Pranking.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, you know what? whatever, I'm just gonna go back. You can stay in the dark by yourself. Then like the light comes back on, and then we go out. And then while we're out, me and my brother, I just asked him like randomly, I was like, what was that all about? Like, why did you hold the door? Like, I literally came to check on you. Like, why would you do that? He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I came and I called your name more than one time, but then you closed the door while I was coming to the bedroom. He was like, no, I thought you're the one who closed the door. I was changing, and then all of a sudden the door closed by itself.
Oh, so he was in the room.
So he was in the room, okay? And the door closed by itself. And I was like, but I didn't close the door. I thought it's you who's closing the door. And then I was like, yeah, but I called you from outside. Why didn't you say that you're inside? And I even tried to open the door, and the door wouldn't open. And he's like, no, but I was on the other side. I was knocking on the door, and I was trying to open it, but you didn't. So I thought you're the one who's holding the thingy up.
So you were both on each side of the door and you couldn't hear each other.
And both of us are doing the same action, and the door won't open.
That's so bizarre.
Exactly. So that night, like, both of us were like, okay.
And this is the house that we're going to stay in when we'll go see.
No, this is the apartment that I just sold.
Oh,
so,
right,
yeah.
good, okay.
Hopefully the guy doesn't hear to that, doesn't listen to that podcast. But no, we lived years and years after, and
nothing else happened.
Nothing. I mean, some stuff here and there, but like nothing as severe as this one. Yeah.
I mean, that's weird.
It was weird. Like, it was weird. But the thing is that I thought it's in my head till my brother really confirmed what happened. So it was just like, it was one of the weird things that we lived together. So yeah.
You're saying, although there's been like supernaturally stuff like this happened like in our houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when we lived in one house, there was this woman that my dad said lived in the house, and she pushed him down the stairs. And my sister Sophie, she was pushed down the stairs as well by this woman who didn't want us in the house. I never experienced it. She must have liked me, but like my dad
couldn't push you.
My dad, hilarious. I wasn't fat then.
Okay.
But yes, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the stuff that happened with my family was actually through dreams.
Yeah.
And my mum used to have dreams that used to come true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she dreamt that she got a letter through the post from somebody that told her that somebody had died. He was like, he was kind of like a well-known, I think he was a drug dealer, right, in Middlesbrough. And she had this dream that she was sent through a newspaper clipping that he died, and she was like, that was a weird dream. Anyway, about 6 months later, my Auntie Barbara, because this is before internet and before mobile phones, like we're talking like early 90s here, my Auntie Barbara had sent my mum a newspaper clipping through the post saying that Lee, I can't remember what his last name was, Lee something or other, he was like a well-known gangster in Middlesbrough, whatever, and that he was stabbed outside this pub, and he was stabbed to death, right?
Wow.
So she was like, that's weird, like that she got that in a dream like 6 months before. And then there was something else that she said as well that was in a dream that had happened, but I can't remember what it was. But me and Sophie, because me and my sister were fairly close, we had exactly the same dream one night. I was living in Australia, she was in the UK.
Yeah,
and we had the same dream, but from different perspectives.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was really weird. So I'm in Sydney.
Yeah.
I'm walking around near the Opera House, and then all of a sudden I see all of these planes coming like into Sydney, start dropping bombs, and the water starts rising, and I run back into the city, and like there are some people that have no clue what's going on, and I'm like, run for your lives, like they're bombing us, blah blah blah. And then the following day I said to my mum, I was like, I had this really weird dream last night, and I told her what it was, and she was like, that's weird. She said, you need to speak to Sophie. So I called Sophie and I was like, Mum told me to ring you. I've had this really weird dream. Yeah. She was like, that is crazy. She said, because I don't know if you know Sydney, but where the Opera House is, there's like the Botanical Gardens, and then there's like a Navy base there.
Yeah.
She said, and she's never been to Sydney, by the way, ever. She said, I was in a Navy base or an Army base next to the water in Sydney. She said I could see the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Yeah. She said, and my dad was a sergeant or colonel in the army, and he was putting me in a boat and telling me to go. He was like saving my life, and he was putting me in a boat to get away. And she said she was in the boat and she turned back and she saw planes dropping bombs on Sydney. So on the same night,
she had the prequel
the prequel
of your dream.
What do you mean?
There is a sequel and a prequel. So she saw whatever, like, she was
No,
living before.
We had the same dream at the same time.
Yeah.
So she was experiencing it from a different perspective.
Okay.
So we had it wasn't a sequel or
Yeah.
a prequel, we had the same dream at the same time. If you're going to interrupt me, tell me something that's going to be correct.
But it's a prequel.
How was it we bought?
Because you saw the things coming, but she lived it before the airplanes coming.
What are you talking about?
Your dream started with the airplanes coming, right? And bombing Sydney.
Yeah, and she was getting put in the boat at the same time as the airplanes were coming across.
Oh, I thought like she lived some time before the...
God.
Anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Weird dreams, weird family.
So, but it was like, what's the chances of that, though? Like,
Yeah.
obviously that hasn't happened
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
But it's like to have two people. I mean, I can't get my head around that. I just can't explain it.
Yeah.
Like, because when I lived in Australia, and we are talking like 2008, 2009 here,
Yeah.
like international calling was horrendously expensive. Didn't have like what we have over here nowadays, where you get like 150 international minutes to, 35 different countries a month, and it costs you like 20 quid. It was super expensive. I didn't speak to my family that often on phone. So I know for a fact that me and Sophie hadn't have spoken within the week, like there's just nothing to have connected that. So
Yeah.
to have them like that for me is it's just super bizarre.
Yeah.
I can't explain that, So we've had a lot of supernatural style experiences, I think. And I just can't explain.
Well, sometimes my friends, some things happens in life and we don't know the explanation for it. So yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's why a part of me, and I know this sounds really weird, but a part of me is not scared to die.
Okay.
Because I'll finally find out, like, if there's anything after. Like, that's what I think. Like, I don't want to die.
Surprise.
I know, right? There's nothing. Like,
I'm sure there will be something,
but then if there is, like, how do
Yeah.
you know that it's going to be straight away? You might.
well,
But then again, you'll be dead, so you wouldn't know.
exactly.
So it would feel like it's straight away,
I think
right?
these are existential questions, like
They are existential questions.
Yeah.
But also, when you've experienced stuff that you can't explain,
Yeah.
that is of supernatural, or that's like, like there's just no way to like comprehend it. Like, you have to start going down that route, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
are these things that we've saw, are they people that have... Because I don't believe mediums. You know, like when you go and see someone and they're like, oh, your granddad's here, and he told me that blah, 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 and he was, like, I don't believe that they're talking to them.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
think?
no, I don't think this is
My dad
true
used to
as
say it was like energy. They would read energy off you. Like, if you were sat there thinking,
Yeah.
oh, I really want my granddad to come through, and I really want him to tell me, like, they will feed on that energy.
And they have a lot of ways to scam you into getting the information out of you and stuff like that. So they
Yeah.
would use that against you. So
Do-
it's just...
I don't think
it's true.
I don't think you've ever seen it, right? It's
Yeah.
called Peter Kay's, what was it? Nights, Phoenix Nights. And there was
Yeah.
a medium on there, right? And he still does tours, comedy tours, this
Okay.
comedian, right? But he pretends that he's a medium.
Yeah.
And he goes into this social club, like, in Manchester or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to come to you. He's like, and I'm just thinking of a word. It begins with P. And I'm just feeling it of you. Paedophile. He
Oh my
goes-
God, that is horrendous.
And the guy gets out the audience, he's like, what? And then he starts like having a scrap and fighting with him. He's like,
Oh my
pedo.
God.
And
That
he's
is
like,
bad.
but like he says things that are just absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious. Like he'll like put people like out that are
Yeah.
having an affair or whatever, and he'll be like, oh, so it's just hilarious. Peter
Yeah.
Kay's Phoenix Nights, right? We've never watched that,
Yeah.
but this is something that we should do. We should watch it because the great thing with having Barry in my life, right, is that you don't know anything about British culture or
I mean,
British
do you know
TV
anything
shows.
about Egyptian TV shows?
No, I don't, but I
Yeah.
can't watch them because
I
they're all
know,
in
it's
Arabic.
yes.
But you can understand everything in English,
Yeah.
and there's so much stuff that we can watch together. Like this week, we've been watching The Golden
The
Girls.
Golden Girls. Oh my God, like I love Golden Girls. Yeah.
I mean, The Golden Girls was like a classic TV, and this is why I
Yeah.
think you'd love Murder, She Wrote as well, because she was
I'll
really
give it
good.
a go.
Angela Lansbury, where she's like trying to, solve all these crimes and stuff, but she was so cool. So
I'll
I
give it a
think
go.
you'd enjoy that as well. But Phoenix
Yeah.
Nights, you've got to watch that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that as another episode. Maybe we could talk about like different TV shows, and we should rate the TV shows that you've not seen. But it's like watching everything for the first time with you because you've never seen it before, and then I can laugh again with it because you don't know it, and then you start to make connections with like other actors or other things that have happened. And you're like, oh, she was in that, and oh, this relates to this, and it's like which is really interesting.
And I do like having these moments, to be honest. So
yeah.
Anyways, I do think that we actually have went overboard with this episode already. Time is already past. So, what do you have any final words that you want to say to our audience?
I just think that if you've got any ghost stories,
you should comment.
And tell us because we love them.
Yes.
And I would love to hear any experiences that you've had or any photos or anything like that maybe you've caught on camera. Yeah. That's like all supernatural and scary.
I mean, validate ours, that there is something is happening with other people as well. But truly, like if you do have any stories, if anything happened to you or your families and stuff like that, just share it with us. We would love to hear about it, and I'm sure like a lot of people would love to as well, hear about these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like we do have a channel on Instagram. It's called Egyibberish, and I did like a vote if people want us to talk about these things, and like a lot of people said yes. So I'm sure that a lot of people will be interested about these stories. So
absolutely. So message us, and tell us about your stories, and then we can talk about it as well.
Exactly,
because we need some content from other people as well to tell us what's going on in your lives.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was the end of episode 8. Thanks for watching, and we only have 2 more episodes left until the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take a short break because we are going to Egypt next month in a couple of weeks' time.
We booked a flight.
I know, right? So I'm going to come back with hopefully some renewed. Not even renewed because I don't have anything to say about Egypt because I've never been. But like we'll come back with some like new content and stuff to talk about. Which will hopefully get us through season 2.
And we will start having guests hopefully.
Yeah, we want to start having guests as well on our podcast too, which is going to be really fun.
It's going to be amazing. And he will get to experience if the curse of the pharaohs are true or not. So you will see that for yourself.
I can't wait to see the pyramids.
Exactly. So thank you so much guys for watching us in episode 8, and see you soon.
Tuck yourself in, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Or don't leave your toes out.
Don't leave your toes out.
Bye.